Today, I will be reading the first chapter from Riot Baby by Tochi Onyebuchi. It's available for checkout here in the Chief Self Library. Before her thing begins, before even Kev is born, before the move to Harlem, Ella on a school bus, ambling through a Piru block in Compton, and the kids across the aisle from her in blue, giggling and throwing up Crip gang signs out the window at the Bloods and the low rider pulling up alongside the bus. Somebody, a kid poet, scribbling in a Staples composition notebook, head down, dutiful, praying almost. Two girls in front of Ella, clapping their hands together in a faster, more intricate patty cake, bobbing their heads side to side, smiling crescent moons at each other. Bus slowing, then stopped. Metallic tapping on the plastic doors which whoosh open, and warm air whooshes in with the Pirus that stomp up the steps in their red and black lumberjack tops with white shirts underneath, and their red bandanas in their pockets and their .357 Magnums in their hands. And one of them goes up to the ringleader kid who had been throwing up the signs most fervently and presses the barrel of the gun to his temple and cocks back the hammer and tells the kid to stay in school. And if he catches him chucking up another Crip sign, he's gonna knock his fucking top off. Feel me? And Ella can see in the gangbanger's eyes that he's got no compunctions about it. That this is only half an act. It's only half meant to scare the kid away from the corner. That if it came to it, the guy would meet disrespect with murder. Ella hates South Central. She doesn't know it yet, but can sense vaguely in a whisper that Harlem and a sweltering apartment and a snowball are somewhere in the distance, not close enough to touch, but close enough to see. Ella calls her grandma even though she's not Mama's mother. Still, she does all the grandma things. Takes Ella to church when Mama's working or out or passed out on the couch from whatever she was doing the night before. Brings Werther's chewy candies in the wrinkled gold wrappers whenever she comes by to help out with her chores. Keeps the bangers with their 40s of Old English at bay when they loiter a little too close to the house and the garden that she protects like it's her grandchild too. And now, Ella's old enough that she can sit outside on the porch to escape the heat that gets trapped indoors, the heat that turns the plastic covering the couch into a lit stovetop. Grandma sweeps bullet shells out of the empty driveway while Ella chews on her second Werther's of the afternoon. Blessing, the pit bull next door, yanks itself against its chain, and Ella shakes her head as if to say, "It's too hot, I know, but dogs can't talk, and this one wouldn't listen anyway." Still, she remembers Mama telling her not to egg that dog on, not to tease it because one day the chain around its neck and the chain link fence it sometimes throws itself against won't be enough. One of the neighbors, Latanya, walks by holding her baby, Jelani, against her chest, and Grandma stops sweeping and smiles, and Latanya holds one of Jelani's wrists and makes him wave at Grandma. "Say hi, Jelani," Latanya coos. "Ooh, he's so big," Grandma tells Latanya, and Latanya brings him over, hesitating only a moment to acknowledge the pit bull. "Pretty soon he'll be ready for daycare," Latanya says, and even from the porch Ella can see the light twinkling in her eyes. Grandma smiles wide. "Oh, the way you look at that child." "I know." Latanya shows her teeth when she grins, bounces Jelani a little bit. "Doesn't look like a thing like his daddy, but don't tell Ty I said that," and the two women giggle. "Well, you know Lainey's getting her business started up soon, so you should stop by. She's been sticking sticky notes on everything, and she's been saving up for a playpen, even talking with the library about getting books for the kids. Lainey says we'll eventually get a computer set up so the kids can play their games after school. I don't know how I feel about them staring at a screen all day, but sometimes it's best to be indoors. Well, you let me know when it's up and running. Jelani'd love to make some new friends. Ain't that right, Jello?" Jelani buries his face in his mother's chest. Oh, he's so shy. The sun feels too bright outside, like it's washing the color out of everything, and dizziness hits Ella like a brick. Grandma and Latanya are still talking when Ella staggers to her feet and stumbles inside, and the light falls in rectangles through the burglar bars over the windows. In the bathroom, she stands over the sink and lets the blood slide a little bit from her nose before tilting her head back up. It always feels like something's rumbling whenever she gets the nosebleeds, like the earth is gathering itself up under her, but whenever they stop, the nosebleeds, and she looks around, it's like nobody else noticed a thing. Vertigo pitches her forward. She leans on the sink, squeezes her eyes shut, and tries not to think of what she saw outside. The boy named Jelani, grown to 10 years old, walking the 5 blocks home from school, a bounce in his walk and his eyes big and brown before a lowrider screeches nearby and a man with a blue bandana over his face levels a shotgun out the window at someone standing behind Jelani, and after the bang, everyone scatters, leaving Jelani on the ground staring up at the too bright sun for the longest 2 minutes of his life. Grandma finds Ella on the floor, gasping in a long, aching wheeze. Then another. Then another. Oh, Jesus. And suddenly she's at Ella's side and has the child's face buried in her chest and rocks her back and forth, even as Ella grows limp. Oh, Jesus, 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 spare this child. And Ella's breath slows and she comes to. What, Mississippi? She whispers. What? Child, what are you doing? 3, Mississippi. A breath, a normal one, then a heavy sigh. Mama says when I get my panic attacks to count my Mississippis until it goes away. Grandma sounds surprised when she laughs. Good morning, Junior Church. As tall as Brother Harvey is, his suit always seems too big for him. Too many buttons. But it never falls off, no matter how much Ella and Kiana and John A. giggle at him. None of the helpers down here in the church basement wear the white gloves the ushers upstairs in the grown-up service wear, so Ella can sometimes see the tattoos on their hands. Brother Harvey moves back and forth in the little row of colored light thrown there by the stained glass windows with orchids etched into them. How many of you pray? He asks in his too big voice. He sounds like God. Ella raises her hand. How many of you pray every day? She puts her hand down. Janae keeps hers up, but Ella knows she's lying. You don't pray every day, she hisses. Janae cuts her eyes at her for a second, but keeps her hand up. How many of you do things that are wrong? Ella remembers that time she lied about putting her clothes in the wash and instead stuffed them into the closet she was supposed to hide in whenever bangers congregated in the alley behind the house. And she puts her hands up. God says, Brother Harvey booms, if you do things wrong and come to me, I'll forgive you. He walks over to Kalen, the little boy 3 down from Ella with suspenders and a clip-on tie. Brother Harvey's hand rises like he's going to hit him. If I hit Kalen here, what is he supposed to do? Forgive you, all the kids shout except Ella. That means Kalen's not supposed to hit me back, right? Ella wonders what she would do if Brother Harvey hit Kalen with that too big hand of his. Now, I'm not saying Kalen shouldn't defend himself. He puts his hand to Kalen's head, cups it. Kalen, you say, Brother Harvey, I will defend myself. And then, at an appropriate time, I will forgive you. And I will do both of those things vigorously. The air starts to change the same way it does whenever Ella catches herself daydreaming, imagining. And she sees an older Kalen, filled out and all man, working in a hospital as an orderly. And all of his patients are old, way older than him. And over, the old patients, when they get slow and know it's not going to be too long now, ask him to sit with them. No bang, no blue bandana, no pool of blood on the sidewalk. Reflexively, she grips the tissues in the pocket of her frilly dress. She's up in the front, and a nosebleed now would embarrass her in front of everybody. But it never comes, and she lets go of the tissues, and pretty soon they're singing. Brother Harvey says a prayer for all of them, anointing them, and then he sends them back to their parents or grandparents or people who act like their parents because they need to. Ella's so tiny. When the ladies crowd around her, their big hats come together like pink flower tops to hide her from the sun. All right, and that's the first part of Riot Baby by Tochi Onyebuchi. It's available here at the Chief Self Library. You can check it out today.